it feels like nothing changes. Absolutely. I mean, the conversation remains at a point of what's happening, nothing's happening, everyone hates each other, what's going to happen?
The bickering's getting louder, it's going to be a very messy divorce, and the problem is the clock is ticking down to Brexit. The government gave it 2 years, March 2019, Britain will be out. And so it's really important, and they're still stuck on the early talks, which is, right, Britain's leaving home, how much do we have to pay to the people we're leaving? What happens about Northern Ireland and EU citizens in Europe? We haven't got talking about a trade deal yet.
Is the main logjam this divorce settlement? If we could get past that, do you think things might start flowing? Because Britain hasn't said how much it is prepared to pay. It just says it's not happy. Well, Brussels has named a figure, but that's it. There's no further negotiation.
No, Brussels haven't named a figure, actually. There's been a lot of speculation about figures, ranging from 100 billion in the FT. Some people say 56 billion. The Telegraph said a few weeks ago 36 billion. Let's be clear. We're not married to the European Union. Why would any country marry that ugly old boot? We are not in a marital arrangement. We are leaving a club. And when you leave a club, you stop paying your membership when you leave.
Yeah,
so it's not in the treaty that we have to pay a farewell deal at all.
And David Davis wants to see the legal sort of argument, and there isn't one, many say. But in the spirit of trying to get these negotiations on the move, do you not actually have to show willing? So you don't. So Andrew,
yes.
what's the prospect then? You don't. You say no to that. They say we can't move on.
The fact that they're so hung up on a so-called payoff shows how worried they are we're leaving, because they can't manage without our money, because we're one of the biggest contributors to the EU. 11 billion euros every year.
We signed deals, we had legal obligations, you're going to pay. The Tories, who want our Boris Johnson, David Davis, chief negotiator, realise we're going to have to pay something. Of course, you hid that during the referendum when you were duping people and conning people and saying it would be so easy and everything would be wonderful. Anybody who's got divorced, split up from a long-term relationship, moved out of a house in an acrimonious way, knows it's difficult. And it's not just CDs who gets Auntie Eda's carriage clock here. It is about big money and our future relationship.
Who is going to blink first, do we think?
I think this is always inevitable, Richard. It's part of negotiations. When Mrs Thatcher famously used to negotiate in the EU, there'd be all sorts of standoffs, but in the end, a deal was done. A deal will be done. This is inevitable. This is inevitable. There's going to be a fight.
In what way have we blinked?
I don't think we've blinked.
Demanding flexibility now.
Yeah. 7
position papers, as they call them, that put out. Everything's going to change and nothing's going to change because we're in the weaker position. It's just a fact of life. There's 27 of those countries. There's one of us. There's 450 million of them. There's 60 million or so of us. We're the one who's leaving.
Does Labour's change of heart on having this
change of heart?
The latest change, does that put pressure on the negotiations at all or not?
I think it does, and Labour's had more positions than the Kama Sutra.
Just to be clear about what the current position is.
Yeah, the current position is now, during a transitional period, however long that is, you remain in the single market and the customs union. That's all about jobs and prosperity and trading.
All right.
The fact is, a lot of Tory MPs want to do that.
Let's change the record.